On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
Relationships, I think, are everything in your business and your personal life also. It's you display who you are every day through your business. And in my case, I want to display Christ through my actions. And if I can do that, I'm successful. So those relationships can be strictly business, or they can then lead over to personal situations in people's lives that you can make a difference in by your example. So if I can lead, if I can show myself to be Christ-like every day, then I've done my job.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chaz Wolfe, your host, Gathering the Kings podcast. Today, I've got Rick Butler on the King stage. Rick, how are you?
I'm great, Chaz. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. You know, off air, you were giving me a little bit of the business going, why have you chosen me? Why am I here? And for the listeners, if you're listening and you're not watching the video, you know, maybe Rick, you were a little bit concerned about whether age played a role in this, but I'm loving the fact that maybe you've been in business for a while. I think you're going to have some great nuggets to drop here. So you good with all that?
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Fair enough, my man. What kind of business do you have, brother?
Well, we're very specific. I mean, we're different than most businesses.
Okay.
We're a hardwood products company.
Okay.
Very vertically integrated so that we do everything from wholesale, retail, and manufacturing. So we're able to touch all aspects of our industry, which sets us apart from most people in our industry.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to service yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And we do service other, such as flooring stores that call us for transitions for their jobs, or dimensional lumber, or stair parts, or so the list goes on. So we have great relationships with our competition, only because there's plenty of business for everyone. And you know, we're a good business environment, good partners in that way.
Yeah, I love that you're providing those solutions, and also what you said about competitors. It's, you know, if you've got a great product and you're giving them the opportunity to sell it, it sounds like you both win.
Yeah, absolutely. Relationships are everything in business. That once you learn that, there's plenty of room for everyone that you're dealing with, and you make great friends that way too.
Yeah, you're 100% right. In the Gathering the Kings Mastermind, we were just talking about off air a little bit. We talk about leveraging time, resources, and key relationships. And so you're 100% right. I'm glad I'm right. You're telling me you're validating what I'm saying, which is fantastic. I appreciate
excellent
that, because man, I think even just in the last couple of years myself, as I've pressed more into relationships, I've always known that they're important. You don't have a sales process if you don't know how to build relationships. But from a business perspective, not just a sales perspective, the relationships, it's hard to quantify, but man, it just year after year after year become more and more valuable to you if you press into them. Do you want to share anything, words of wisdom there, since you made a point there?
Well, relationships, I think, are everything in your business and in your personal life also. It's, you know, you display who you are every day through your business. You know, and in my case, I want to display Christ through my actions, you know, and if I can do that, I'm successful, you know. So those relationships can be strictly business, or they can then lead over to, you know, personal situations in people's lives that you can make a difference in by your example. So if I can lead, if I can show myself to be Christ-like every day, then I've done my job.
Yeah, I just appreciate that perspective. I have a similar view, and whether it's with my family, of course, but you know, team or as I'm interacting with other business owners, the practical word of what that looks like for me is excellence. If I do things with excellence, then what that should reflect is, or what the response that I believe that I get if we do things with excellence is like That's it. That was different. That was interesting. That was
Right.
nice. That was premium. Like something's different
Yeah.
about this individual or this team or this business or this product or whatever. And so,
It's often the unexpected that surprises people or takes them off guard because they're used to not seeing that a lot of times. And
right.
it's good that they can.
Yeah. I think that there's just so many ways in a business and as a leader, as an individual, that you can be excellent. And obviously that's a representation of Christ specifically, but then, it then actually provides what you're trying to do in the natural. You just being good at what you do. It's not like you would ever regret that. I feel like it hits two birds with one stone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the bigger picture for you. You've been doing this for a minute. You've even got your family involved. You kind of mentioned that off air just briefly. We'll get to that here in a second. But I want to know what's the why? Why do you push? Why have you built this thing? Why are you still doing it? Like, what are you after?
Well, as my mother would say, I was always an entrepreneur from birth, is how she puts it. I've always enjoyed business and talking to people that were in business and understanding how different businesses worked. And
sure,
it's kind of led to that. I enjoy developing business. Probably the biggest thing in that is that I surround myself with great people because I lack in areas such as the detail. I enjoyed developing business, but I like my CFO to work on the financials and, get the figures to me to what I need. And I have a great team that I'm very fortunate, especially today with today's lack of people wanting to work. I've got most of my people have been here to 20 to 30 years.
Wow.
So I have a great team. I could leave for a week, a month, and they can run the business without me. And that's a great testament to their abilities. So I'm very fortunate there.
Yeah. I mean, what you just described is the entrepreneurialism utopia, right? Like every listener today is going, oh my goodness, you could leave. Yeah. Right. You have people that you trust, that you don't have to check on. They've been with you 20 years. Like all these things that you just very casually stated, you're blowing some minds. And so I want to get into that a little bit because I think there should be some hope that 20, 30 years down the road that entrepreneurs who have been building that long do have team members or partners or people in their business that have been for the ride and that they can trust and that they can, they're not needed in every little piece of the business. And so before we get into that though, I want to know your history. Like you said entrepreneurialism from birth, like what does that mean? Was it a different business beforehand? How did you get started with this one so long ago? Like give us the backdrop a little bit.
Well, this is a family business. So my grandfather started at 86 years ago.
Wow.
My two uncles went into business with him. And when I was graduating from college in 81, they had asked me to come to into business with them.
Yeah.
Because they just bought another sawmill in Missouri. So we had a sawmill in Illinois and one in Missouri. So they asked me to help learn the business here in Illinois.
Yeah.
So I worked for them for 16 years. Part of that deal was to get part of the business.
Sure.
So in that process, in that 16 years, I started a molding operation. We started a retail store for hardwood products.
Right.
Matter of fact, the first store was 640 square feet. Then we built a store, which was 3,200 square feet. And then we doubled that. And now it's 20,000 square feet. I opened 4 stores called Woodworkers Shop throughout Illinois, and then in that 16 years. And at that time, we actually flooded at our mill in Missouri. We shut down the mill here in Illinois because Missouri is a better timber producing state. And then I bought the Illinois operation from my uncles.
There you go. So you've been in it since a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And I love how the number one thing that I just took from that short story was that even though you were in the business, it was their business and yours kind of together, but that you, in the midst of all that, were still doing things in the business, like meaning the retail store, the molding operation, all of those things were probably either your idea or your push, your main, hand, and of course your team. But it just is a great opportunity for anybody listening here today who either is a kid or a grandkid of a business owner, or someone like me who's not, but who has kids, and I want my kids involved and I want to get them, in a family business. And so it just gives us a good depiction of what that could potentially look like, and give room is my point, really. Right. Did you ever feel like that it wasn't yours, or that you couldn't do your own thing, even though you were partnered with them before you bought them out?
No, they gave me the latitude to grow where we needed to, once I presented financials to them and to show them the potential of that. And it always worked out well.
It's awesome. I want to know maybe early on, before maybe you bought them out, but really any example would be fine. What I'm looking for is a good decision that you made that you can strategically look back and go, okay, we made this choice, and it was one of the ones where I would make it over and over and over again, given the opportunity. What can we learn from you here?
Probably the best choice I've made in business was when I started going to my wife for advice. And let me explain that, because, I'm very laid back and easygoing, and my wife is very type A and very detailed. So she fills my voids in what I don't see. So she sees a lot of things that I don't in making decisions. And that's really, quite honestly, the best decision for business I've made. Now that'll be different for different people. I mean, that may be a different businessman for somebody else, or somebody a deacon at their church, or their pastor, or something else that can give them advice. But in my case, I'm very fortunate that my wife can put a different view to every situation, because it slows me down as an entrepreneur. I'm gangbusters. I want to jump into everything. Literally every business opportunity I see, I think, oh, I want to do that. And it takes her to rein me back in and say, okay, let's be realistic about this situation. And how much time do you actually have?
Yeah, that's right. And probably more now than ever, it's time, right?
Yeah.
How much can you really do? And not so much like capability wise, but time wise, we have to exchange our time. The mindset there, I'm pulling two things here. Number one, it doesn't have to be the wife, but you need somebody who counteracts the way that you operate so that you can make quality decisions. And then number two, the wife actually is part of it. Like if you're married today, even if she's maybe not the type A, detailed operator, maybe you are, whatever the dynamic there is,
absolutely.
She's your wife. Yeah. And I missed that early on. I mean, Julie, my wife, is also a high driver like me. We're both pretty detailed, but she's just not business oriented. And so I just kind of dismissed a lot of what she thought. And I can think of a couple times where she was like, hey, I don't think we should do that. And she couldn't bring what I called a business case, of why. It was just feeling, intuition, whatever. And I've learned to pay attention to that voice a little bit more nowadays.
Well, that's good. Good for your business and family.
Right. Exactly. Good for me. I'm not making bad choices. She's a pretty good decision maker. All that to say, let's flip the coin. Let's go to a bad choice. What did you do along the way here? I'm sure there's plenty to choose from, but it just didn't work out, and we can learn from it.
Well, a bad choice would be, as an example, I bought a machine at our molding operation that was multifunctional. It was going to solve all the issues of running dimensional lumber in our case. It did multiple things and eliminated two other machines. And I took the advice of the person running the molding operation at that time, but I didn't do my due diligence, and that machine didn't pan out to what it was, cost me a whole lot of money. But it taught me a great lesson. So, to trust and verify, basically.
Yeah.
And anything, because like I said, I've got great people, but it doesn't necessarily mean they see the picture as I do. It's like buying a new truck. If a truck for me may cost $100,000 to deliver material, but if I can find something for half that price that works for application, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Because
there's a prudence there.
Yeah, I've become very conservative in my purchasing since that nice lesson. I call that machine my Ferrari, by the way, because never got the Ferrari, but that machine costs as much as one. So
yeah. Well, I think that there's a lot to unpack there. I think that, you're saying you gave the autonomy to your person. You kind of went with his direction. It's not necessarily that he maybe didn't even know. It's just maybe he just didn't have the full picture like you do as the head visionary. What do you think about, like, because the thing that comes out of my mind from that story, it's like our obligation to give him or her a counterpoint, like, to their decision. So, I can think of someone coming to my team to me, hey, I think we should do X, Y, Z. If I don't, wrestle with them a little bit, mastermind with them a little bit, go back and forth with them a little bit, and I just take their word for it, it's like you said, it's just trusting, but no verifying. It's not verifying as if I don't trust them. It's just, I owe it to them to wrestle it out a little bit to make sure that it is the best for everybody involved. Would you agree with that? Or do you have any examples there?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point, is that I, as the owner of the business, need to make that counterpoint, because they don't know what else is going on in the business, in other divisions, what it's costing, what the cash flow is. They have no idea. But from their point of view, is this nice, shiny new machine would be great.
Yep.
But it didn't necessarily pan out to be what we anticipated in that decision. And could have been.
I'm just glad you got your Ferrari.
A lot of more affordable. Yeah.
Did you at least paint it red?
No, it was an ugly Ferrari. I stuck a sign on it that said Ferrari, my Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly. That I can relate to that. When we're making financial decisions, I think that it's not that conservative. Yes, I would agree. We're on the same page there. But when you understand what the dollar invested can bring back, whether it be invested in a piece of equipment or invested in a new business or in your people, it's tough to buy the red Ferrari, the actual Ferrari, when you know the power of what the investment can do for you. I want to know, is there like a process or maybe a mindset that you follow after all these years of decision making? Something comes across your desk today, any certain steps that you follow around making good decisions?
Well, I would have to say, I try my best to be faith, family, then financial. Okay. Which is easy. It's easy to turn those around when you're in business.
Yeah.
So you have to be diligently, praying daily in your business so that God's first, family's next, and then financial. So again, it's a lifetime
commitment.
Yeah. But that's my goal.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's sound perspective, and then you made it really relatable by going, oh, okay, God, after all these years, you still have to remember or choose to do it in that order. I think that's super powerful, because you're right. It can get mixed up pretty easily, and it doesn't always have to be money first. Like, we can get things mixed up where we choose our family first, which it sounds like, well, that's not a bad idea. There's just, man, when you can incorporate the little whispers, even if it's just a 10-second little help, Lord, I think that there's just so much wisdom, revelation, clear direction, synergy, unity, whatever descriptive words we want to use, those things flow out of that state. Would you agree, or would you like to add anything to that?
Well, no, you said it well. I absolutely agree.
Good. Appreciate that. Let's go with the speed round here. I want to come at you in a little different angle. The first round is about tracking. You've got several divisions, a lot going on in your business, departments and people and different products. If you could only track one thing forever and ever, what would it be?
That's a very difficult question. If I could only track one thing, I guess realistically it'd have to be the bottom line. So the profit of the business, because the business is not going to exist if we're not making a healthy bottom line to make it keep growing. Right. As you know, business, as a lot of people don't know, it's very expensive to run a business nowadays. Yeah. Especially from the tax structure. In my case, I have a lot of inventory, a lot of machines, trucks, forklifts, so the bottom line has to be there for us to keep growing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the ultimate lifeblood to know whether we're going to live another day.
Yeah. And I have to support my family. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think that, out of a healthy business, numbers wise, profit wise, to your point, that it's not just your family that's being taken care of. How many people on your team, their families, clients that are being fulfilled that wouldn't be if your business didn't exist. So there's a lot of families, a lot of people that get touched by the fact that you're keeping a good tracking over there. So what book would you recommend to a six-figure business owner who's trying to scale their business?
I honestly have to say the Bible.
Okay.
I mean, there's more business advice in the Bible than any book out there. Now there's a lot of books written about the business advice that's in the Bible. So,
right.
So just, if you're getting into business, type into the internet, just type in there business advice in the Bible, and there's unlimited amount of information in there.
Yeah, that's huge. I appreciate that perspective. It makes me think of a time where I was speaking at a men's event and in a church that we were involved with years ago. I'd helped start the men's ministry, and everybody I was the one business guy. There just wasn't a lot of business guys, in the church. And one of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich. But I a lot of people in the church are like, wait a second, thinking like that's not biblical. But the reality is that these are all success principles that come straight from
the Bible. Yeah.
The Bible.
Yeah.
So I love correlating things like that and blowing people's minds. So appreciate the perspective there. I want to know one question here around operations. If you only had now this might be easier for you because you're further down the road here, but if you only had 1 hour each week to work in the business, successfully run your business like you do now, but you only got 1 hour each week, what would you do in that 1 hour?
Well, with 1 hour a week, I would probably just meet individually with my department heads and first see how they're doing personally, and then see how they're doing financially in their divisions, what things need to be addressed there.
Yeah. Why did you say first address how they're doing?
We've got quite a good family here of people. So, this business doesn't exist without my employees whatsoever,
Yeah.
So their health, well-being means a lot to me and their success also.
Is that weighty for you? Like, to use King terminology, the weight of the crown, right? Like, is that weighty for you to care for all those people at such a level?
Only in bad times, it became weighty in 2009 when the economy crashed and our business was cut 50% in a day. I mean, that was a different experience, but a very learning experience,
Yeah.
Learn a lot from the downturns in your business, probably more so when if everything goes good every day, then you're never going to learn anything. So,
that's right.
But otherwise, no, I enjoy it. I know one thing: when we used to be a sawmill only, and then I bought the operation and we kept growing into different areas. One of the things I was very proud of is how much the income level went up for my different employees. So I personally took great pride in that fact.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that have that mindset. Not everyone, but there's a lot of guys, especially that I have found raising up. Maybe it's just people that we're attracting and talking to, but there's this sense of pride, if you will, around like, it's not just about me. It's about those that are with me and their families even. And so I just appreciate that, being that you've been here, done that for a minute. It tells me again that I'm operating in the right mindset as a younger business owner. One last question here for you.
All right.
Are you ready, Rick? If you could whisper in the younger Rick's ear, what would you tell him?
Whisper in my ear. Probably listen to your wife earlier than you did for her advice, because just for that same reason, I needed different viewpoints and to slow me down.
Right. It's good. It's good. How can the listener find you, Rick? They want to reach out to you, get some additional words of wisdom, or even connect. Maybe they're in your area. They need to get hardwood supplies or material or all the different parts of your business. How can they find you?
Best way is to email me at rbutler@woodworkersshop.com.
Perfect.
If they forget that, just go to woodworkershop.com or peakinhardwood.com or millworks.com. Those are the three legs of the business.
That's awesome. We'll put all that in the show notes as well. And that way they can easily connect with you. But I wish we had a little bit more time, because I think I could probably pick your brain of 30 years of experience for a whole another hour or two. I'm extremely inquisitive of guys that have just been down the road. So I just appreciate your time personally, selfishly, actually. Appreciate your time. And I feel like I've learned and been strengthened here today, just on some of the things that we're already doing that you're saying are good. So I just appreciate your time. Thanks for giving here today. We wish nothing but blessing on your family and your businesses, all your people. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thank you, Chaz. I appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing literally over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings literally exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe, that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.